This is the Stabby Road Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stabby Road Podcast, a podcast where 4 generations of horror fans watch 4 generations of horror movies with one particular theme, and then we chat. Woo! We have, I think this is a new season, I believe. We're starting a new season. This would be season 8 that we're starting.
Who the fuck is keeping count, man?
Yeah, only because I edited it. So.
No fucking clue.
Yeah. And we've started our 4th year of doing this.
It's so wild. Wow.
So this is season 8 in our 4th year. Let's just introduce everybody. To my right, of course, is filmmaker extraordinaire
TJ Kiss.
To my left is actress extraordinaire
Sonia Harcourt.
And why did you
Why did you
snort?
Yeah, why did you snort at that? What
You
was
did
that
the
all
double
about?
extraordinaire.
What?
It was funny. I thought it was funny.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to use
TJ
extraordinaire for you then.
I thought it was funny. I thought the double extraordinaire
Okay.
was funny.
All right, and over there is that guy. No, and also, and finally, last but not least, of course, extraordinaire, director of the feature film Violet Hearts, along with his brother.
Stabby Tech Josh. God, this is top of the day, man.
Top
this
of
is
the day,
only
man.
going to
Yeah,
get worse.
It's going to get worse.
go.
Strap in, folks.
Just you wait till you hear those Dr. Sleep episodes.
Yeah. So this month we are doing The Shining, and we're covering the Stanley Kubrick The Shining. We are covering Mick Garris's miniseries The Shining, and we are covering Dr. Sleep.
And we'll also be, not on its own episode, but we'll be discussing the documentary.
Yeah,
Room
we'll be
217.
incorporating Room 237 here, just in case you wanted some fucking bonkers shit to talk about.
Yeah.
So, before we get going, though, and I'm going to turn this over to Josh, do you want to come up with another announcement? This is our 2nd year that we are partnering with the Scared for Your Life Film Festival. If you guys out there are filmmakers and you have horror shorts that are 30 minutes or under, or if you have horror screenplays that are 30 pages or under, please submit it now to the Scared for Your Life Horror Film Festival. Please do so before Halloween, which is October 31st. For all of you horror fans out there who are listening to this and don't know when Halloween is. It will be running this December 19th at the Cinema Arts Center, which is 423 Park Avenue in Huntington. So you don't have to live in Long Island. Just send it. Send wherever you're living and wherever you're hearing this. Send your horror shorts. We want to see them. We'd love to see your Christmas shorts too, as well. So that would be, Christmas horror shorts, not just your regular Christmas shorts. But they do have to have some horror relationship. And same as last year, the winner of the best screenplay, will have your table read here on the Stabby Road Podcast. So when you go to Film Freeway, which is how you will be submitting your films, use our promo code STABBY2026 for a little bit of money off there. All right?
We'll have a link in the description.
Yes. Don't count on it, but we will have it.
I'm going to start throwing stuff for you to do.
Yeah, he's adding more things.
I know.
Like right now, you're hearing "Welcome to the Jungle" playing under all of this.
yes. And it'll be our last episode.
That's
as we
right.
will be
Demonetized full
Through
way.
the nose
CGI
merchandise.
version of the Overlook behind me right
Exactly.
Oh, man.
now.
So I'm going to throw this over now, as we will be starting this whole monthly shebang. I'm throwing this over to Stabby Tech Josh. Stabby Tech Josh?
Hello. You did the intro. You introed everybody.
Yes.
So we could just start talking about
Yes.
The Shining.
Yes.
All right. How's everybody doing? Let's run around. I think the best way of starting this is because everybody. Okay. Jesus, fuck. Not used to this. Sorry.
It's okay. I think I
March.
know where you're going.
Josh has been studying The Shining since March.
correct.
This is the
Yes.
most amount of work I've ever. You're seeing actual stage fright. This is the most amount of work I've ever put into an episode. I read the fucking book. I watched everything twice. This is the most I've ever put into the podcast. Okay. Let's go with everybody's first introductions to The Shining. How did you get introduced to it? What was your journey with it? We'll start with TJ and we'll go down over to me.
Okay. All right. So I first saw The Shining, I think when I was about 11 years old. My family had moved from one town to another, and the people across the street from us I had two sons. They invited me over to, spend the night. And the whole family, we watched The Shining. And I had basically no knowledge of it at this point
That is an
whatsoever.
amazing family.
And on top of it, this house was like 150 years old.
Oh, nice.
It used to be like the barn when this place was like a big farm where all these houses were in Tarrytown, New York, not upstate, just across from the city. And I remember sitting there, and as the credits started rolling, immediately realizing like this is definitely not appropriate at all, and I'm probably not going to tell my parents about this when
Was
I
the
saw this
father's
when I
name
get home.
Delbert?
Actually, I don't remember. I remember the kids' names
brothers?
were John and they were twin brothers. Correct.
Stop.
They were twin brothers. No warning that
Love
there was going
that.
to be some scary ass twin stuff
Love
coming
it.
up, and I'm now spending the night in this house with two twins. So what is going on here? But I found the movie. It immediately even at 11 years old, the opening crawl where you're going through with that helicopter shot and the soundtrack and the clouds and the car, everything, you're enveloped, like you're in for the ride immediately. There's no way about it. Like Stanley Kubrick just pulls you right in immediately. The score to this movie,
I mean,
it's
Wendy Carlos is just like
it's
the best.
unbelievable.
incredible.
Yes,
I think she only made 3 scores. I think it was like this, Tron, and then one other like weird one. But it was like this and Tron being like seminal.
Yeah.
So that was after, and then I continued to watch it. I watched it again and again and again. I've watched it over and over and over again over the course of the years. It's truly developed into one of my, not just my favorite horror movies, but my favorite movies of all time. The one film class I took in college, we covered a bunch of different genres as an introduction to film, and this was the horror film that was picked, which was great to do. So I got to see that, learn a little bit more about there like that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. Every single time you watch it, obviously there's more and more because there's more and more always out there that everybody's putting out there after the documentary that came out, all the bonker stuff that we'll get into going on further. But now you watch it with a whole different eye. You can look for about 9 different conspiracy theories and get an entire different viewing of the movie when you go through it. And yeah, so that's my initial take. I fell in love immediately at an age probably too young. Thank you. And it may have shaped me for the rest of my life. Let's put it that way.
Best sleepover ever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
not
a pretty
bad.
wicked
Not bad.
sleepover movie.
Not bad. What about you, Rob?
Okay, so this came out when I was 15 years old. And I lived in Jamaica, Queens with my dad. My parents had divorced at that point, so I was just living with my dad in Jamaica, Queens, which basically means I was living by myself. Because my dad would work during the day and on weekends he would just visit his girlfriend. So I was pretty much a 15-year-old with his own apartment.
Damn.
Nice.
Which sounds
Yeah, I was
better
gonna
than
say-
that.
Sounds cool.
In theory.
But
In theory.
But it was in Jamaica, Queens, and on Jamaica Avenue there was this movie theater that you could buy tickets. If you were 15, you could buy tickets to like a PG movie, and it could be like Follow That Bird with Big Bird or Ernest Bites His Own Cack or whatever. I don't remember what the movie it was, but you could spend the day going from movie theater to movie. They didn't care.
Oh, that's awesome.
So The Shining was there. So once Follow That Bird was over, I went over and watched The Shining, and that's how I watched it. I was 15 all by myself in a giant theater with, I don't think anyone else, or maybe like might have been 2 people masturbating or something, but I didn't know.
To The Shining?
Yeah, you never know.
What part?
And look, I am not king shaming anybody. Yes. If you're into old ladies with festering boils, this might be your movie.
This is your movie.
This might be your thing.
No wonder I liked it
Yeah.
so much right away.
And so I saw it, and I was kind of traumatized by it. I had never seen really anything like it before. I mean, I think up until that point, I hadn't even seen The Exorcist yet.
Okay.
Which I did see maybe a couple of months later the same way, like going from movie theater to movie theater. And so hadn't really seen anything like that. And I didn't know enough about films to process it. But then about 4 or 5 years later, when I went to film school, it was probably the second or third. There was a class we had called Film Theory and Criticism. It was a great class. It was a 5-hour class. And the reason why it was 5 hours was because the first 2 hours you watched a movie, then you took like a half-hour break, and then you came back and just talked about the film from that point forward. And so it was the first film that I remember thinking, I'd seen this before. I was able to see it again a second time and was able to then look at it critically from a cinematic eye. And that was a big The Shining was a huge growth film for me in terms of learning about films and understanding how films work and appreciating how genius someone like Stanley Kubrick is.
Mhm.
So for me, it was a kind of a positive. It was a traumatic thing that ended up becoming a positive thing.
Mm.
So
I feel like that's just horror in general for a lot of us.
yes,
I was traumatized, and now here we are.
yeah,
That's right.
yes. I'm traumatized, and now we have a podcast.
That's right.
I actually heard the score before I saw the movie.
Oh wow.
I think we've covered this before. I was a late bloomer to horror,
Mhm.
so I hadn't seen the movie until I met my husband. But I will never forget the opening score, the bass. I was driving around my small town in central New York with a friend. It was 8:00 at night, 8:30 in the winter, pitch black, and he's like, I want to go show you this abandoned building. It used to be a psych hospital.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, absolutely. But and then he blasted that as we
Oh
drove
my
down
God.
the hill. And I thought I was going to piss myself. It was terrifying. I didn't even have context for the music. I was just like, why? What is about that?
It's just this music. I mean,
It is just a naturally scary score.
Exactly.
it's even more scary if he just
So
plays it
this
as
guy
he's
think
taking
he
you
was-
there, no context. Like, what is
Yeah,
This is
going
your-
on right
this
now?
This is your husband?
No, this
Oh,
is
this
a
This guy,
Did this
okay.
person think he was scoring points with you by doing
no,
this? Or
gay.
okay.
Gay bestie. Gay
Oh,
best
okay.
friend.
Ah,
All right.
Honestly, even better.
Yeah.
An
Yes.
artsy photographer. He's like, I want to scout this location for a
Okay.
shoot. And I was like, you're not shooting me here. No. You can go get one of your other models because it ain't me.
So this guy's awesome. This
Yeah.
Yay.
Shout out to gay photographer.
What's up, Devlin? But then, so then I sat and watched it with Hubs and immediately fell in love with it as
Mhm.
well. And I think after 3 months of seeing it for the first time, they did a screening at MOMI, and we went to go see
Mm.
it
oh my
there.
God. I would
And
love to
that
see this
was
in
so
theaters.
much fun.
Me too.
And we got to see, we were friends with our upstairs neighbors at that place, and they'd never seen it. So we sat them in front of us, and we were like, I'm just going to watch them watch it.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was incredible. The moment when he jumps out with the axe, they were completely unprepared
Wow.
for poor Halloran.
It's so shocking.
It's,
So
the,
shocking.
the
Still,
timing of it
to
is
this day, it's
so
still shocking.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, the timing's incredible. The poor, I've kind of felt bad for the girlfriend. She was like, she screamed bloody murder. But yeah, for the rest of we all walked home, and it was just Danny boy for the rest of the night. But they loved it.
Boy.
They loved it.
Hey.
So yeah, that's my intro to The Shining.
Awesome.
I mean, my story with The Shining is going to be forever tied to this podcast in a
Aw.
weird way. I mean, the earliest image of this I have is being a kid, and my dad would do these parodies of shit. Every year they did a Oscar party, and would do these commercial parodies or parodies of whatever movie or whatever.
Right.
And there was one of The Shining with a character who was a sock puppet named Sacco Papetti.
Like up a petty.
I grew up a petty.
And so I just have the image of Shelley Duvall in the bathroom and an axe coming through and then a
Our
sock
friend
puppet.
John, by the way.
Was it? I
was John-
remember it being Shelley Duvall, but
He was
you
playing
must have.
Shelley Duvall.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
God, that's
He was screaming
Um,
like a little schoolgirl.
So
in the corner of the
that
bed, yeah.
image in my head of the sock puppet coming through the door and just
Yeah.
like, what
And
the
Sock had
fuck is any of
he had a
this?
thick. He had the most stereotypical Italian accent.
Nice.
So
Yes.
he would go I remember he goes here's the Giovanni. Like that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so that was just that.
I love
Being curious of what the fuck is this? And then I remember, I had a book of horror characters and the image of Jack Torrance
Yeah.
through the doorway and the poster and not really knowing what any of this was. And then, I'm a Simpsons kid. I've got a fucking Bart Simpson tattoo. The Shining was how I experienced this
Love
movie for the
it.
first
Yeah.
time.
Love
And
that.
so it's watching that a dozen plus, a couple dozen times before.
And might I add, shockingly accurate.
No,
Yeah, really?
Very,
We'll
yeah,
talk about
very,
this later
very-
because I do want to spend
Yeah,
some time
of
on The
course.
Shining.
Agreed.
It's maybe the greatest parody of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would agree.
It is perfect.
It's almost a reboot, not even a parody.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's
it's
basically
yeah.
almost not making fun of it. Yeah.
I remember once Mick Garris, who directed the
Yes.
Shining miniseries, who we will talk about later, talking the exact same thing, saying it was one of the best parodies he'd ever seen.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's perfect. But because of that, when I first watched The Shining at like, when did Doctor Sleep come out? 2019?
2019.
Wow,
So,
was it that long
I think
ago?
I just saw that. Yeah.
I think I watched it because of Doctor Sleep. I hadn't seen it.
Nice.
It was
Okay.
like one of the ones that I was like, I just never saw it, never really had an interest in.
Yeah.
And so I watched it because of Doctor Sleep. I knew that was coming up. I was a big Mike Flanagan fan. Watched it, didn't do anything for me. I was like, because it was so, I was thinking of Groundskeeper Willie, and
Yeah.
I had seen and he's climbing up the stairs, and I'm thinking of Homer with the no TV and no.
Yeah, give it a
And so, like, it didn't do anything for me, and I it was always like, I liked it, but I kind of like Doctor Sleep a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I think I watched it a second time after having seen Doctor Sleep, and then just sort of put it to rest. Never really touched it. Never really, and you'd think about it, like intellectually, I was like, oh, I like this or I like that, but I never really revisited it. And then we're doing the podcast, and so we're doing big family movie night, watching The Shining. My fiance comes over. She, as we all know, does not do horror movies.
Poor thing.
And
Yeah.
she was like, you know what? I'll come over. She's, finishing up her master's degree right now. And so she was like, I'll be working on my homework and write a paper while I'm doing this. And it's playing, and I just keep looking over, and fewer words keep getting typed.
Oh.
And she's more and more like looking at the TV, and I'm watching it being like, oh my God, I think I like this movie more than I thought. And she ended up loving it. She's reading the book right now.
Nice.
I read the book because of this. I watched the movie a second time in 2 months. Like, I have completely fallen in love with this. I think Shelley Duvall's performance is maybe my favorite in a horror movie. I think she's so fucking great in this. And something I was saying after having read the book, one of the things I love so much about this movie is there are chapters and chapters and hundreds of pages talking about Wendy's internal life and her anxieties and her relationships with her mother and her fears about Jack and his alcoholism and all this. And Shelley Duvall wears all of it so perfectly on her face.
Yeah.
Yes.
That having read the book, I go, I don't need to know those things specifically,
Right.
but you look at her face and it's all there.
Yep.
And so
She that
It's-
smile of like the woman trying to keep it together.
yes,
Yes.
is
absolutely.
perfection.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
Perfection.
Yeah, so I mean, we could take this conversation in many ways. I have a couple
Yeah.
points I want to bring up
Please.
that I wrote down. Let me pull this up.
Because
This is-
there's a lot to talk about.
There's so
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
This is legitimately one of our
Okay, so
main
I
background
have
movies.
I
Like,
had
we'll
some
just put it
sort of
on.
like things that were either myths that I want to debunk that I
Right.
think we
Okay.
could debunk, and then some of my theories and sort of musings on a lot of this. Oh my God, I almost deleted all my notes.
That would have been.
that's
Wow.
Man, that's
That would-
podcast
that would have been-
fault.
Thank you for
Yeah.
taking
Josh
another
is out.
drive.
3 months of work gone.
So I was looking through, let me read some of these. I was looking through some of the reviews at the time because I know sort of so much of my coming into this podcast to do this was there is so much myth around this movie. And I wanted to cut through all the bullshit as much
Mhm.
as I could.
Mhm.
It's always like the movie is great, but it's a bad adaptation of the book. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to read the book and see for myself. So much of the myth is Kubrick myth himself of like being closed off and a hermit, and which is not true. He was apparently very social and he just wasn't doing like NBC interviews or stuff like that,
Right.
Right.
I wanted to dig and the reviews at the time being like that it was poorly received. So I want to start with some of the reviews. Right. I found some of these reviews and here's some I found. It was like, though we may admire the effects, we're never drawn in by them. When we see a flash of bloody cadavers or absorb a torrent of blood, we're not frightened because Kubrick's absorption in technology distances us. I can't help thinking
I
that
don't
the
even know what that means.
Yeah,
I don't
what does that
know.
mean exactly?
But the genre
The
within
absorption
Technology? What the
distances you. Wouldn't that bring you in? Technically, I guess.
So here's one. King's original. I can't help thinking that the King original, with its spook-ridden, otherworldly junketings, gets in the way of Kubrick's grim vision, cheapening and distorting the final product. The genre within which the film is cast exerts too great a price. Nicholson's performance, even if deliberately over the top, still shouldn't encourage as much laughter as fear. Nor should the final twist of the plot look so illogical. Like, these are like, people really were down on this.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Laughter and fear come from the same place.
Yes, 1000%.
And, I'm not...
So many people laugh when they're scared.
I was going to say, I was about to say, I'm not even going to get...
If I'm given horrible news,
Yeah.
a tremendous smile goes on my face.
Yeah,
and
like-
my whole family at least knows it, and it's like a joke.
Yeah.
But like, we've discussed my Aunt Pam before, somebody who's introduced to a lot of great films. When she told me what she had going on that ended up ending her life, it was an aneurysm. I don't know why I'm masking it like it's something crazy. Yeah, she had an aneurysm, going to have surgery. I couldn't help but almost start laughing. And she said that made her feel good because, because that's me. You know what I mean?
You're a gentleman.
But I can't help it. When I get bad news, I just smile. It's not because I think it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's just how my body reacts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Or absorption technique
Yeah.
distancing you.
Yeah.
What
You
the
both
fuck
you
does-
use the word absorption and distancing
Don't
in
make
the
sense.
same sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
So a couple of the myths I sort of want to dig into around Jack and Wendy's casting.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing of like, this movie's bad because Jack Torrance is crazy from the beginning because of Jack Nicholson. And I'm arguing that's like saying Michael Myers is bad casting because he's going to kill everybody.
Right.
I don't think the script, the movie is trying to convince you otherwise. The book is.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't think the script in the movie is. I think they're pretty firmly putting you on the side of Wendy and her trying to protect Danny from Jack. And that is also in the book.
Yeah.
That's not like
No, but
King pulled that out of his ass. Or Kubrick pulled that out of his ass.
No, you're right. Like, one of the earliest scenes is the psychologist talking
Yes.
about breaking Danny's arm. It's
Right.
like, it's established from the get-go that this is not a healthy family.
Yes.
And I guess that probably pissed off diehard fans of the book.
And I think also, Kubrick is so good at using all the elements of film. And what I mean by that, because, we look at Room 237, the documentary, and they talk about all of his stuff with like using subliminal messaging and stuff like this. And I don't think it's to get across the idea that he faked the moon landing.
Right.
I think a lot of that
Well, you're
stuff
a fool,
Yeah.
Josh.
probably. No, I think a lot of that stuff because
It's not. It's about the genocide of the Native Americans.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
or that Jack Torrance has like penis envy or something.
Right.
Well, obviously,
Oh, God,
I mean,
yeah,
who doesn't? I mean,
PJ.
I love the one where he's like, yeah, and if you look at the way Ullman's standing, it looks like that book is a cock. And I'm like, what are you fucking reading into
Exactly.
that?
Yeah.
Maybe
Again,
you
this
have
is,
some
this is
issues.
room 237.
There's a lot of
They talk about when
projecting.
Ullman, they're in that office and they some kook freeze frames it right when the little bookshelf thing is in front of Ullman.
It's like
and
the paper tray.
And and it looks like there's a censored penis.
So
Standing,
that is what I
and
thought the
pointing
first
to
time I
Jack's
saw it.
face.
but-
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So one of the things, also now sort of having made 2 feature films, not that my process is anything close to Kubrick's, but having some sort of insight into how to make a movie. I think he uses all of the elements, especially in this, to get across the whole point. Instead of making it scripted where it's a mix of visuals and dialogue, I think he uses how the camera moves to get across an internal feeling. Like I said, so much of the Shining book is internal.
Right.
It's internal monologues, and we can discuss how that plays when you translate that literally when we do the miniseries. But I think Kubrick smartly knew you can't totally get all of that out unless the actors wear it on them internally. The music gets that across. The sound design gets it across. The camera movements, how that move, gets all of those internal feelings across. And that's one of the
Like show don't tell.
show don't tell, but also using all of the elements. You know,
Right.
not many filmmakers use all of the elements in such a mosaic-like way that Kubrick does. And I think
Right.
he was one of the few filmmakers, even still, I mean, I think I can think of a handful of them that even, I think Wong Kar-wai is another one who can sort of bring you so internally. But that isn't necessarily caught up in making sure you have a traditional film and uses all of those elements. So I think Jack and Wendy's casting is very important. You need Wendy to be able to wear all of that immediately. You need shortcuts so that you're not having long dialogue scenes of exposition.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to get a sense of who Jack Torrance is right away. You know, and then, so that's my thing on casting.
And that's valid. Like the miniseries, they had what, like 4.5 hours to tell the story in theory. So, like you said, when they're doing a movie, he's like, "All right, no, we got to establish who Jack is.
We need to
right
know
away.
who he is immediately.
Yeah.
You need to cut through the bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not a slow burn. You got to get them in right away and get them along for the ride.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you write novels, that's being internalized is perfectly fine. That's how
Right.
you learn from about somebody. A perfect example in terms of Stephen King and translating into film is Gerald's Game.
Yes.
Stephen King wrote Gerald's Game because he figured, I'm going to write something that can't possibly be
Ever
turned
be
into,
adapted.
which is what makes Mike Flanagan such a great director, because he adapted it
It's so good.
and did it so faithfully.
I mean, Flanagan is the
Which we will get into with Dr. Sleep. Yeah.
Genius.
I'll be sucking him off the entire
Oh my God.
episode.
Yeah.
He's
That's
one of my
going to be on the
favorites.
Patreon. Folks.
Yeah.
Flip that.
Yeah.
Flip that.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, another thing I want to talk about, because in my research, I found this, and it's a myth that I was always interested in, but I wanted to, again, cut through the bullshit, see what was actually there. And it's that Kubrick did not abuse Shelley Duvall on set. It is a complete fabricated myth that I think comes from two places. I think it comes from the fact that the very limited footage that was on set in that documentary that his daughter made, you have like some scenes of Jack running lines, and then you have him and Shelley Duvall fighting in the cold. And by all accounts, that was not the case. And then the other place it comes from is Angelica Houston said that there was like a contentious day when she visited because she was married to Jack Nicholson at the time. But if you listen to Kubrick talk or you listen to Shelley Duvall talk, they both talk about it very fondly. Like she said, because she came from Altman's school of filmmaking, because I think Robert Altman plucked her out of the street. I think she was like working at a store or something, and he saw her. I mean, you can't not see her face and instantly be like, that needs to be in movies. And so one of the things that happened was he was very Altman was very controlling. And if you worked for him, you only worked for him. And so when she went to go work for Kubrick, she decided, okay, I'm going to go work with Kubrick. And then he sort of blacklisted her in his movies to the point that the studio had to twist his arm to get her to play Olive Oil in Popeye.
Right.
Because who the fuck else would play Olive Oil in Popeye?
Seriously.
He did not want her cast in that movie.
Even better casting than Wendy.
There's been a more olive oil looking human being than Shelley Duvall.
Valid. But
and so
God, there we go. Fragile little egos.
Absolutely.
Fucking women's careers in Hollywood.
And I think, but she talks about it because like the way Altman works was very naturalistic. And so she didn't have to be an actor. And the way she talks about it is like working with Kubrick turned her into an actor. She was like, I had to be in it. And she says it was rough. It was physically intense. You're at a heightened emotional state for months on end. She says it wasn't easy, but that it was never anything that she was forced into doing and she says she thinks she became a better actor because of this experience. And they never worked again, but that's only because he made 2 other movies after this. But that's a complete fabricated myth that I think came from 2 places and sort of wanting to, she's a great actor, and I understand sort of it's well-meaning how those stories
Sure,
sort of
it came from a
proliferate
place
and-
of concern.
Yeah, I understand how
Yeah.
those stories proliferate, but I think if you listen to her actual words and Kubrick's
Yeah.
actual words, you know, it doesn't seem like
And
that
it
was
does,
necessarily
and it does.
the
You're
case.
right, and it comes from a place that, because there are so many controlling and misogynistic directors,
Yes.
that's very easy then to just go, if just given just the footage you see of that
Mhm.
film,
Yes.
to go, all right, he's one of them
Yep,
too.
clearly. And you know that he's very controlling and he wants
Yeah.
what he wants every take, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff will make you do it over and over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah,
But also, you know, and something Kubrick would do that I give him a lot of respect for is he would do the 80, 90, 100 takes or whatever, which, you know, I don't understand the obsession over how many takes somebody
As an
does.
actor, I would lose my mind. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Yes, but Kubrick would also, if an actor was like, I don't think I've got it in me today,
Mhm.
he'd be like, all right, we'll shoot it another day.
Oh, all
He's
right.
like, we'll move on. We'll do it another. He was like, if an actor was like, I know he did this with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman for Eyes Wide Shut. There would be plenty of times Nicole Kidman would be like, I don't think I can do this today.
I don't think I can do take 99
I don't
today.
think, or we get 10 takes in and she goes, I don't think I can nail what you need from me. And he'd be like, all right, we'll shoot something else. We'll figure, you know. And so he seemed to be very actor friendly, but he just knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And knew when he was going to get it. And
I like the Shelley saying that it kind of made her a better actor. It turned her from naturalist into you kind of have to for something this intense.
Yes.
Like if you every day on set, you're going physically and mentally to a place that dark, you're going to get fucked up.
I mean, I have acted once. It was a 2-day shoot. It was a very physically and emotionally intense thing. And I was immediately like, I never want to fucking do this again. I was like,
but that's why.
But it drained me for like a month. I don't know. Yeah.
But then I'm saying that's why it's like is so important because you have to. It's pretend.
You
Like
need to have the
can't
technique.
always go.
Right.
I'm not a fan of that particular style of acting. Like I can sometimes I know you have to dig deep down to get it there, but like the naturalist, the purist, it's like the not Running Man, $1 Million Man, maybe like Dustin Hoffman, like was running laps.
Marathon
Man.
Well,
Thank
Dustin
you.
Hoffman's
Good
in that
God.
case.
And he's like to get himself all disheveled
Yeah.
and get sweaty. And then was it Michael Caine?
Lawrence Olivier.
Yeah.
Why don't you just try acting,
Oh,
dear
yeah.
boy?
One of my favorite lines. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Like if that's what it takes for you to get there, I don't know. Hot take? Are you an actor?
That's just a class,
Or are you just
to
a
me?
reality
That's a clash of process.
Well,
It is.
I also think
because everyone has different process.
No, for sure.
yes.
And I think there's a place for all of it.
Right.
I also think there's a certain type of guy who, because it's always men, who it's not a very masculine job. And maybe they have to be like, I have to do all these things and put myself through hell.
Well, that makes
I'm
it
so
feel
cool
a little
and
bit
tough.
like more
Yeah,
like,
it makes you feel a little
Yeah.
less. Which, look, I don't give a shit, man. Fine, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. It's none of my,
Yeah.
But like, maybe you don't have to be doing all those things.
Because acting is so much about finding your emotions,
Yeah.
which in our society innately is not a man thing to do.
Yes, correct.
So yes,
So
it is. You do have to find that side.
Yeah.
and
there
that's
was
probably more challenging as a
Right.
man.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Another story I found while reading this that I thought was very funny was, I mean, it's funny and it's interesting and you sort of, I don't know where what the final emotion of the story is, but Halloran, Scatman Crothers, he was also not really an actor. He would perform and do all these things. So this he found very challenging doing 70, but he was so a perfectionist that he was like, he wanted to make sure it was perfect from what he thought, and it was perfect for Kubrick. And he says like he would come home like so worn out and so because, and then he said, next film he does, he works with Clint Eastwood, who famously Clint Eastwood one take and you're on.
Yeah.
He said first day he shows up, Clint Eastwood, they do the wide, move on, we're not even getting coverage. And he said he sobbed.
Yeah.
He said he started sobbing. He was like,
prepared.
he wasn't prepared for it.
Right.
He had done, all this stuff with Kubrick and how much, so he said he just sort of had to recalibrate, I think, after that.
That's tough. Yeah. What a drastic change. My God.
Oh, yeah.
I know, going from Kubrick to Eastwood.
Because Eastwood doesn't even say action. He just goes, when you're ready.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you like when people just start acting when and
Matt Damon telling a story, he's like, can I get a second take? And Clint Eastwood would go, why? You want to waste everybody's time?
yeah.
Damn. All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess he likes what he likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I like somewhere in the middle as an actor. I like being able to play a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
just
look,
start
as a-
small and pull it out. And
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, it sounds like a Fincher set would be an absolute nightmare as an actor.
I
I think I
think-
might go insane.
Mhm.
I
I
love
think-
him, but I think I would go insane.
I also think Fincher is a director I have studied more than any. He's probably my favorite.
He's
Again,
incredible.
very different perspective than me, but I don't think his 100 takes is the same as Kubrick's 100 takes. I think when I look at his process, it's because he probably does 15 takes,
Mhm.
but he will do like a dozen setups. Right,
Oh,
so the camera's in a wide, and then
Right.
2 mediums, and
Right.
then 2 close-ups, because he wants to
Gotcha.
be able to move the camera in. So I don't know. I've never
his-
seen a slate
Yeah.
of his.
Well,
so I
his
don't
reasoning, his basic reasoning is that everyone in the crew, camera,
know. Yes,
production designer, take months and months and months to get to this point.
mhm.
Why should the actors do it? Why do you give the
take- yeah.
actors an hour to do it?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, he
wants the actors to
is a
really get
respect-
into it
It is
and-
actually an act of respect.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take it.
And and he wants the actors to feel like they've explored all the options,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
there's not much. We're talking about Fincher there. There's not much about Kubrick's process, or
Yeah.
at least what his thinking is for some of this. I mean, look, we could. Now we're getting into theories I want to talk about.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
Room 237.
no, not those theories are fun, but I kind of don't give a shit about. Anytime somebody's like, "Did you notice that the outlet in the background stuff
Oh.
moved from what?" I don't.
There's no
care.
outlet when they're watching
I don't
TV
care.
downstairs.
I don't care. I don't care. None of that
Yeah.
plays into my
That I
enjoyment
find
of this.
generally creepy.
It's
When they're
creepy.
watching
Look,
TV
think
and there's
about
no,
it, or
And it's not
there's no,
plugged in.
it's not plugged in.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
does that really
I
affect
don't think of
my
that-
viewing?
I don't think of that as a conspiracy thing. That's
A
No,
I think
deliberate.
that's purposeful. And if you catch it, you find it creepy. If you don't catch it, you don't catch
Yeah.
But even if you
Yeah.
don't catch it, there's like an uncanny valley kind of vibe to
it.
it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Which totally,
Well,
that
that has
makes
to do
sense.
with also the camera movement
Yes.
in that
Yeah.
setup and
Yes.
everything like that.
Yes.
So I did a deep dive on Kubrick for this. When he made 2001, so much of his desire for that was he basically was like, there has never been a space movie that satisfied me in the way I think it should
Mhm.
be.
Okay.
And if you think about it up to this point, there is no space movie like that.
No.
that
No.
sort of explores it in that way. And there's the stories of him being like, okay, I'm finally going to make my horror movie. He wants to make it the scariest he can make it. And I don't know if you know the story of like his secretary would
Yeah.
bring him stacks of books.
Yeah.
And she would be sitting outside his office and he'd pick one up, and every 10 minutes she'd hear him just throw it across the room and hit the wall. And she brought in The Shining, and she goes, that was the only time she didn't hear the book hit the wall.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
And so he like fell in love with that one, and
Nice.
and so but part of what I think is happening here too, the theory I want to discuss with everybody is this partially, in addition to him making what he thinks is the scariest movie he could possibly make,
Mhm.
also a satire of other horror movies being made at the time. Because there was a very narrow window of what horror movies were being made. Almost him sort of poking at the quote-unquote elevated horror of the time, right? The
Okay.
Omens, The Exorcists, the what's the one I'm thinking of? The Amityville Horror,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where
The
it is like,
Sentinel, there's a whole bunch of movies that came out around that time.
yes, there's the man, there's the woman protecting her kid, there's
Mhm.
the, I'm wondering how much of this is him subtly sort of taking the piss out of some of those
I mean,
those movies.
I think there's maybe potential, not so much with the characters themselves,
'Cause
though,
the-
since they come from the book directly. Like the mom taking care of the kid, the dad
the
being
archetypes
crazy,
but he's also this is on the face of it his least funniest movie.
oh yeah,
And I think there's a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
1,000%.
Like Kubrick is a very funny filmmaker. You look at fucking any of it. Eyes Wide Shut is funny. There's
Dr. Strangelove.
Doctor
is-
Strangelove,
Strangelove is a
Clockwork
flat-out
Orange. I
comedy,
was
yeah.
laughing at scenes in Clockwork Orange. That movie's absurd.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
Full Metal Jacket has funny scenes in it.
yeah. And
So
while
does
it's
2001.
intentional,
Yeah.
2001,
Yeah.
it's intentional, but Jack Torrance's performance can be fun in parts.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's goofy or garish or
Right.
whatever, but there are places where it goes a little far. And
Camp.
but I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm
Right.
like,
No, absolutely.
You get any other actor than
it's
Nicholson,
It's that conflation between comedy and horror and
Yeah.
laughter and scare.
Yeah, it's like dancing that line.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and I think I don't want to talk about it, but the two biggest movies right now, Obsession and Backrooms, sort of I think toe a lot of that too. But I won't spoil those because we'll be talking about them soon on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like,
Actually, by the time this airs, we would have talked about Obsession.
oh, that's
Hopefully,
right.
yeah.
That'll go.
So
We're from
Go
the
see Obsession.
future.
Whenever the fuck we talk about it.
You guys know how it works. We do this all in one day,
Yeah.
and then we release them whenever.
At some point.
I'm trying to think of like now. I mean, I guess like maybe ghosts, maybe a little bit of
Well, yeah, the
you know,
ghosts.
pulling
but
from
like
that.
that's what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
there's a reason he picked this book.
right.
And I think certainly, King and Kubrick had conversations where it was like they'd be on the phone and King would be like, don't you think it's scary, the stuff with ghosts? And he's like, no, that's beautiful. Oh my God, can you imagine? I hope there's an afterlife. He was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he was like, he thought The Shining was a hopeful book.
Yeah.
Aw.
He was like, the fact that there is some sort of afterlife was a hope for him. He was like, and then King goes, yeah, but don't you think about hell? And he was like, yeah, I don't really care about that. He's like, I don't think you really thought about that,
Yeah. And also, King actually wrote a draft
Well,
of The Shining.
that
Oh,
gets
did he?
tricky because
Mhm.
this was the first book, because Carrie had come out and Christine, like he's starting to get.
No, The
They're
Shining
starting
was,
to be-
no, it was Carrie, it was Salem's Lot,
Yeah.
Mm.
and then I think to The Shining.
Okay, so
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
this is the
But it's all
first
in that-
one.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the first one post his boom.
Yeah.
And the adaptations where he was able to say, I get the first draft.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
He had it in his contract. If you adapt The Shining, I get to write the first draft.
Right.
And I think part of let's dig into the Kubrick King contention
Okay.
because I think there's a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Because I think one of the things that initially pissed him off was I don't think Kubrick ever even considered his draft. My understanding is basically from the second Kubrick got his hands on it, it was him and I forget the name of his co-writer. Somebody can pull that up. Basically started working on it behind King's back, and I think essentially the second he handed in his draft, they threw it out.
Yeah.
I don't even know that. I don't even know if
Diane
King
Johnson.
Diane Johnson. I don't know that Kubrick ever even read.
We heard it hit the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. This is the Shining script. So, I don't know that. I think they got off on the wrong foot a little bit, maybe
valid.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I would personally feel disrespected.
yes,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I think. Let's dig into some of my revelations with the book and King and Kubrick and all these things, because I think one of the things going into it was I wanted to see sort of how different an adaptation it was, and I think the movie is a more faithful adaptation to what the book is doing than the miniseries. If the miniseries is still more of a one-to-one,
Mhm.
You've got more direct scene comparisons.
Mhm.
I do think the movie is more faithful to the spirit of what
was
is
gonna say
happening
the
in the
tone.
book. The tone.
Yeah.
Totally, it's more
I would
to the book.
agree.
Right.
So Kubrick.
Yeah,
Have
the
you-
miniseries is accurate, but not necessarily creepy.
It's not creepy. And I don't think it necessarily gets across the feeling of The Shining, the powers.
The isolation,
I don't think but we'll talk about the miniseries when we're talking about the miniseries. But so much of the Shining book is very Freudian. I think it is, and I don't know to what degree he did it intentionally. Every book seems to be King dealing with some sort of personal demons. But
Actually,
this one is
can I
the
interrupt that?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you
go.
know that this I think it was at the end of the director's cut of Doctor Sleep, he talks about how he wrote The Shining when he was either like a dry drunk or
Yes.
functioning
Mhm.
alcoholic,
Yeah.
and then wrote Doctor Sleep sober.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Right.
the
Because The
pers-
Shining is about alcoholism.
Exactly.
But Dr. Sleep is
Yeah,
about
yeah.
recovery.
exact, and I
Yeah.
loved like he said that's his demon. for
Yeah,
this
sorry,
movie.
I didn't even touch that because I thought everybody knew.
Oh, okay. I
that
just found
bit
out
of
about
his
that.
story. No,
Yeah.
I don't know who knows this. I have been so in the shit right now. Like,
You've been knee
like
deep in
I'm
it.
so I'm way deeper than knees. Like, I am up to my eyes in the shit on this. So I'm sure there's bits of information that I'm just sort of glossing over.
Gotcha.
Yes, no, King was dealing with alcoholism. I think his marriage was in a very contentious place. I don't know that it is a one-to-one, but if you read the book, it is I think it is emotionally honest to what he's going through. Obviously, he's a writer. He's an alcoholic. He's going through all these problems. I think one of the problems when adapting material, I'm going to bring up my movie because my brother and I wrote our movie during the pandemic. Very difficult time for us. Both of our parents were sick. It was just, there was a lot going on, and we used that as therapy. And it took us 5 years to be able to even make the movie because I said to Jake, I was like, look, if we make this movie now, I'm not going to be objective enough with my feelings to be able to fairly give an actor a shot at playing any of the parts in this. Or be able to be like, we don't need this scene. We don't need that scene. So I needed distance from it. I don't think King ever gave himself distance from this. And so when you read this book about an abusive father who's an alcoholic, and there's sympathy and empathy there. Yeah. And the way they handle it in the book is incredible. I love the book. I sobbed reading the book a couple times. I think the book is beautiful, and I love King's view of the story and the character, and I love Stephen King. That being said, I think when Kubrick comes into it, maybe not having any of this knowledge, and he looks at Jack Torrance, I think Kubrick's sympathies, as a guy who is also, by all accounts, a very family-centered man, I think he feels more empathy for Wendy and Danny.
Interesting, yeah.
And I think Kubrick grew up with a father who was an alcoholic.
Right.
So where Stephen King is an alcoholic. So they both have a different view of that character.
Yeah.
And so Kubrick's take, obviously, is a much harsher take on who Jack is, which immediately King would be like, well,
fuck you too.
What are you trying to say about me, dick? You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, they're not talking.
You know, and again, I can sympathize with this. I remember plenty of times I was on set, and one of the actors who was playing the character that I sort of was emotionally very connected to would make changes, and I would have to stop myself because I'd be feeling emotional, or they would make judgments about the character, and I had to be like, that's not me. That's that's not me that's being said about.
Yeah.
And so I had to sort of distance myself, and I don't know, and it's hard. It's hard to distance yourself from something so personal. So I understand King's sort of problems with The Shining, and you know, we'll talk about this in Dr. Sleep. He's seeming to have softened
quite
on
a bit.
The Shining, particularly after seeing Flanagan's view of everything.
Yeah, I think that's probably
what did it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
well done, Flanagan. Jesus,
I mean, he's a fucking
uniting
genius, dude.
Oh, I have so much to say about Flanagan for
I
Dr.
cannot
Sleep.
wait to talk about that movie.
I also love that he's a Misty. That makes me so. I just love him.
He's a what?
A Misty.
What's that?
Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, is he really?
A hardcore
Yeah.
Misty. Yeah,
That's awesome.
he's on like the. Sorry,
TJ just got
TJ.
hot by
was that?
a giant metal.
It's a
Giant
Metal
metal
It's
boobs?
acrylic. It's a
He got
corset.
hit by metal
I'm
boobs.
sorry. It's
Not
not
the first
metal.
time
It's
he's been hit by metal
acrylic.
boobs.
Not the first time today.
Yeah, first time this week.
Yeah, he if you have like a smart TV, you know, that have the built-in, like Samsung TVs that have the built-in channels, there's a Mystery Science Theater channel.
Oh, wow.
And they're just constantly running either shorts or movies, and he's on there, he's like, I'm Mike Flanagan and you're about to watch Mystery
that's so
Science. And he's
cool.
like, it's so cool that I got to just say that. And I'm like, he's a geek too.
He is.
Yay.
I mean,
Just makes me happy.
I adore everything about it. I love his movie. We'll talk. Well, I'm not going to derail the conversation of the Shining. Yeah, you know, and I think circling back to King, I mean, and so much of this is King, you know, you read the book and it's King dealing with his father. You know, we get to meet Jack Torrance's father, who is somehow worse than the worst Jack Torrance ever gets. You know, and he's a worse alcoholic. He's more abusive to his wife and kids, you know. And, you know, I think there is... I really connect deeply to any story with fathers and sons, because I have such a close relationship with my father. But I also admire, I like stories where you see people trying Let me get my thoughts together. This is a very personal thought. No, I like seeing stories where you see people trying to be better despite like their nature, you know, because one of
or
the
their
things
circumstances.
or their circumstances, one of the things they teach you in screenwriting, right, is your characters should be stuck and there's some big flaws that they're unaware of. And over the course of the story, you throw everything at them to make them painfully aware, and then they embody that change. And that to me is not realistic indicative of how people change.
Yeah.
You know, I think it takes a lot of personal deciding to change, wanting to change, other people not letting you change because they view you a certain way. And I think, you know, that is very textual in the story of The Shining.
Yeah.
In the book.
Yeah.
You know, and Jack sort of trying to be better than his father and fearing becoming like his father. And,
I think that maybe is why I did like the miniseries, is because I haven't read the book yet. So this is like the closest I've gotten to this, you know, more emotional interpretation. I would love to.
Fucking
you know,
great.
I would absolutely love to. But it's like when we do the miniseries, I'm probably going to be a little cushier than you guys are, just because I'm like, that's like getting to see that Jack for me for the first time. So just fair warning.
I have some issues with how they present Jack in that.
I'm curious.
But no, I mean, I in the book, it's so heavy on the generations of fathers and sons, and one of the things that really made me cry is at the end of the book. There's a scene that's not in the miniseries, not in the movie, where Dick and Danny are what happens. So instead of jumping 10 years ahead like in the miniseries, it jumps from the winter to the summer.
Oh, okay.
Dick's working at some sort of golf club or something like that, and he's the chef. And Wendy and Jack visit him, and
Danny.
Sorry, Jesus. Wendy and Danny visit him, and Danny. Wendy's like sitting poolside, and he's like, "Oh, you know, here's some drinks, and you know, get this for dinner or whatever." And then he goes over to Danny, and he's because Danny's like fishing, and he's like, "How are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm fine." He's like, "You're not, are you?" And he's like, "No, I still see my dad." And he's like, "It's like, anytime you sort of need to, you know, you got to be tough for your mom because she can't sort of handle this." And there was a great line that said, he said, when he saw Wendy, he had seen that she had put all the broken pieces together. And she was stronger than before, but the pieces didn't quite fit like they did before. And so he's sitting with Danny, and he's like, you know, if you gotta cry, you have like, it's important to. That's therapeutic. Go in the closet, do it away from your mother. Don't let her worry about you because she can't handle that right now. You know, but he's like, ultimately, that's gonna be better for you when you grow up because it's gonna be therapeutic. You'll be a better man when you grow up. And I was sobbing, knowing how his story turns out in Doctor Sleep, and I was like, I was choked up, and I was like, you know, he sort of wasn't able to dodge his father's demons. You know,
I'm wondering, and then this is more of a Doctor Sleep thing, and we could bring it up then, but I'm wondering if that opening scene in Doctor Sleep, when Dick and Danny,
it is a little similar.
Is basically the epilogue of The Shining.
When she's
it is similar,
which of course makes it even more tragic because Wendy comes up and you realize Dick's not there.
Which again, another example of Flanagan doing some brilliant fucking shit.
We can't not talk about The Shining and then wait to talk about Doctor Sleep to commend like his melding them together so well. Those moments are absolutely gorgeous. Like I had not seen the book, but then read the book, getting to see the miniseries, the moment where, you know, Jack is like fighting it and telling Danny to run. Then that moment in Doctor Sleep hit so much harder for me. See, I mean, he's in the exact same place, but with completely different intentions. Completely different. And the fact that Flanagan managed to pay such tribute to both of them, respect to both versions. Technically, I guess all three versions, if you include, you know, the book, with the miniseries and the movie. The fact that he managed to get them all together in one universe where it completely makes sense, and it's just incredible. I don't know how he did it. Like it's, I mean, talk about pressure. It's just mind-boggling and really, really impressive that he manages to bridge that gap.
Well, convincing Stephen King to be like, look, we can't ignore the
You
movie
can't
that you hate,
pretend.
dude.
Yeah.
That's what people remember. Like,
Yeah.
most people haven't read the book. Most
Yeah.
people have no clue about the
Yes.
book. They just know this film. So I know you hate it, man, but you gotta let go, Steve.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
But I mean, apparently
did.
Flanagan,
Yes.
he was like, all
Convinced
right, you know
them
what? Fair enough. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the actual movie because
Okay.
we spent a lot of time talking around
Mm-hmm.
the movie. I mean, we've got an hour plus to talk about this movie. We
Okay.
haven't even touched the movie.
This is
itself.
2 episodes. The
This is
Shining is
going
2
to be 2
episodes.
episodes.
Yeah.
This is going to be split into 2 episodes. We'll do a 2-parter because there is so much to talk, and I've taken up so much of the floor. Yeah. So I mean, you start with that brilliant fucking shot of the airplane helicopter shots and Jack showing up to the overlook for the first time,
Yeah.
which is
And
just
by the way,
brilliant
I want to
sequence.
talk a little bit more of that title sequence,
Yeah.
which is something I'm sure it's been done before that, but
Yes.
probably not in a major studio film where the titles usually go from bottom
Yeah.
to up.
Right.
yes.
But it comes from the top down. And there's something weirdly disturbing about that.
Yeah.
It's something I do
Because
in
your
all of my
brain has been
movies.
trained not to see it
Right.
that
Yeah.
way.
Right.
In every one of my movies, I have them running that way.
Yeah.
It's like your brain knows something's off but can't quite place
Yes.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like
Exactly.
from the jump, he's
A
establishing
subliminal way of freaking you out.
exactly
Yeah.
Right.
like I'm unsettled already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with, again, this may have happened before, but again, I don't recall it in a major studio film when they give the days of the week.
Oh my God,
Usually
the
things
chapter breaks are
usually
so
things
fucking
will
great.
fade to black and those letters will fade up.
Right.
But this was just jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also
people
the way
have since used that a
yes.
million times. You could see it in 7.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime they,
Yes.
it's just bang. It's
Yes.
right in there.
It's so funny because I was going to bring up 7 with the credit roll. The credits
Yeah.
roll that way
Yes.
too in 7. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's a lot of Fincher talk. I mean, Fincher is kind of the sort of as close, I think, of the new wave of directors to be.
Like the new Kubrick.
Or his closest sort of, you know.
He's adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of similar processes
Yeah.
and reference points and whatever. Yeah, Ullman in this is great. Actually, one thing I will give the mini series is I think for how Ullman is described in the book and how those scenes play out, I think Elliot Gould is a better choice.
Okay. I
in
thought
the
he was a
miniseries.
little stiff personally.
Elliot
but-
Gould?
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean,
But you mean as far as like the character
the
description?
general energy of the
Okay.
character. I think Elliot Gould is a better choice.
Yeah,
for that.
I guess in Kubrick's he's a little maybe too warm.
No, in Kubrick's he's a little too stiff, I would say.
Okay.
Well,
Really? He's much friendlier to Jack.
Yeah.
yes.
Much friendlier.
Yes, he's more confrontational in the book to Jack than,
Okay.
than
Oh,
he
yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
he's way closer to Gould's
Okay.
sort of confrontational.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
and-
In the miniseries, Gould is like
Yes.
He's a
basically a douchebag.
Yeah.
total,
Yes.
just like from the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I give a little bit of trivia about Barry Nelson, the person who plays Ullman?
Oh,
Yes.
yes, please.
Oh, you brought this up yesterday.
Yes. Barry Nelson was the very first James Bond.
What?
Yes.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
So before Casino Royale.
Before Dr. No, before all that, there was like, I think it was one of those CBS TV movies
Oh
or a
my
TV movie where he
God.
played James Bond.
Sick. I
It
can
went
see that.
nowhere, and it's, most
I'd like to
diehard
see, 'cause I
James
really
Bond
like
fans
him.
would know
I do
this.
too. I was gonna say, like, I really,
Yeah.
I could see this working.
I love
Yeah.
him in this movie. Like
Yeah.
he's so good.
Oh, he's
and,
great.
And
Yeah.
I want to.
um,
Is this something we can watch? Still, is it like still around, Rob?
Let's see.
Or is it
He
lost to
played
time?
an American version of the character named
Oh no,
Jimmy Bond
no.
That's
in
awesome.
1954.
That would be the American
live
version.
Yeah.
television adaptation of Casino Royale,
Okay,
We
which
gotta bring
aired
back
on
Jimmy Bond.
CBS, a CBS anthology series called Climax.
okay. I want to try and find this. I
Jimmy
would love
Bond.
to see it.
Jimmy Bond,
I
baby.
would love to do some Jimmy Bond
Yeah,
shorts.
Jimmy
Right.
Bond sounds like that Saturday morning cartoon where they took James Bond and made him like into high school.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
yeah,
like 5th grade.
yeah.
Little
And
kid
our
just-
teacher would
yeah.
be Doctor Mr. No.
Oh,
Oh my
fantastic.
God,
I think
yes.
Yeah.
Cut this. We can't let this get out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Copyright that.
Yes. Yes, Her Majesty's Secret High School.
Oh, fantastic. I love it.
Oh, that's funny. That I could see that working. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would like to see that performance actually.
But yes, he's very rare. If you go to your average person and say who was the first James Bond, they will always say Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But if you go to a real hardcore James Bond person and say who was the first James Bond,
I thought I was a hardcore James
Yeah,
Bond
no,
fan
they will
until
say
you
Barry
brought that
Nelson.
up.
Yeah.
But all right.
I don't think I've seen a fraction of the James Bond movies.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
I watched a couple of them and they didn't like land on me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some of them don't hit the same.
Never get into it. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a very specific audience.
Yeah.
The Daniel Craig ones I love.
Yeah,
I mean, those are-
Craig is my favorite Bond.
Yes.
No choice. Like, not even close. He's incredible.
I was the giant Bond fan when I was a kid. I wasn't because it was weird because I generally loved like the gadgets and stuff. So I was a gadgets guy.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier. We were watching the beginning of Logan's Run while we were waiting to leave, and I liked all those guns and gadgets and things like that. But just the films themselves, I guess I was too young to understand British politics and things like that.
There's
So
a lot of that.
Yeah, so it never resonated with me. Definitely when I got a little bit older, I remember I saw Moonraker, which was the silliest of all of them. But the year before that, my school actually went to Italy. I went to Italy in the 6th grade, and so there's this.
Shut up!
Yeah.
What?
Well, it was I went to like some school for gifted mutants in 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
That makes sense.
And my parents
so
really
Professor
wanted
Xavier
to-
took
yeah.
you there. Got it.
And my parents kind of wanted to make a big effort, so they were like, "Oh, the school's going to Italy. We'll pay for it. We'll go."
That's
and
amazing. Great job.
Awesome.
Yeah, because it was like, "Oh, he's got to travel at some point." Anyway, but like I remember then seeing Moonraker the following summer, going, "I was there. I was in this place. I was that place." And like my dad was sitting next to me, and I kept like elbowing him, like, "Dad, that's the place I was trying to tell you about when I was in Italy." And
That's so cute.
so we actually bonded over Moonraker, which
I think a
not
lot of
necessarily
it
the best James Bond,
Bonded
but
over Bond. How about
Yeah.
that?
exactly.
yes,
It
we
depends-
Jimmy bonded.
Ah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on when it's introduced into your life, whether or
Right,
not
yes.
like. And for me, mine was like the growing up in the age of the GoldenEye N64 game.
Mm.
And like
okay.
that's
Yes.
how I was
Yes.
introduced to the James Bond universe, and that game is still incredible.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
I remember when he introduced us to the Craig movies. Like we
Yeah.
watched. I mean, at the point there were only 3 of them. It was Casino
Royale,
Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I showed you Casino Royale and Skyfall.
no, you showed us Quantum of
Did I
Solace,
really?
and I
I saw Quantum of Solace in theater.
that
It was-
movie sucks, but I have I do have a affinity for it because just because of how we watched it and whatever.
I was pet sitting, and they were gone for like a week, and they had the deluxe 50th anniversary collection with all the movies.
Oh wow, yeah.
And they
you
were
were
like in Brooklyn.
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, basically, and Eric came over for the weekend, and we were just like,
That's
"This is what we're doing all weekend." Literally that, and we watched start front to back. We watched all of them
Oh, wow.
in 2 days, and after that, I was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm cemented that this is like die hard. I am a die hard James Bond fan
Nice,
now."
That's
nice.
great.
I wanted to do
gotta
that
give
with
it to
Josh
them.
with all Kubrick's movies. Just take mushrooms the whole time.
We've been
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
that. No, we're gonna figure out a weekend because that
Do you-
sounds like the best idea ever.
That sounds like the best worst.
Because there's a
idea
lot of
ever.
Kubrick you have not seen. Like you haven't seen Doctor Strange.
No, it's not.
You haven't
Well, that's
seen
why
Lolita.
we wanted to do. I haven't seen Lolita.
You haven't seen The Killing. You haven't seen Paths of Glory. You
Yeah.
haven't seen.
Just putting me on
You
blast
saw
on
you
air
saw
right
Full
now.
Metal Jacket. Yeah.
I've seen
Well, I
Full
have
Metal
not seen
Jacket.
any of those. The earliest Kubrick I've seen is Strangelove.
Spartacus.
Spartacus.
That's
I've
the
seen.
earliest. That's the earliest one I have.
Yeah.
But mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm very down for that.
Whew.
Stabby Road Podcast was created by Joe Senna, recording technicians Josh Graydon and Eric Todd. The Stabby Road Podcast is a production of Fourth Castle, all rights reserved. See you next week.